Before we begin, here's my rule set for these concepts. 1. Unique classes for each monster, so no double flying wyvern. 2. No elder dragons. I can't have a brute wyvern Godzilla fighting a Fatalis Ghidorah. And 3. Use classes that suit their movie counterparts, so no cephalopod Ghidorah. My only rule for the science is to add as much powers as their in-universe counterparts do, but not to the point that they're as strong as their Kaiju inspirations. Making sure not only to make them unique, but also to keep them grounded. With that out of the way, let's start with the king of the monsters himself, Godzilla. The initial pose was a lot more bird wyvern-ish, so I'm readjusting it to be more akin to the common hunched over brute wyvern posture. The first thing you might be asking is, why not Leviathan? Well, I wanted him to be primarily bipedal, like he usually is. Plus, we've never seen a brute wyvern swim before, which would be pretty interesting. But I do have a Leviathan concept, so no need to worry. Also, why not dragon element? First off, we already have a dragon brute that references Godzilla, so I don't want to repeat that. Second, the black and red I don't really like for his color scheme. Shin Godzilla maybe, but not Monsterverse Godzilla. And third, we only have a few monsters that actually use blue fire, so mixing that with the swimming makes him extra unique. For references, I wanted him to look really solid, so I used Devil Joe for the overall musculature, even throwing in a bit of Anjanath for the jaw. I also used Lagiacrus primarily because of his plating, and Glavenus spikes for his dorsal plates, mostly the texture and the shape, making sure to really stick to that segmented Monster Hunter style. But because of the plating, I wasn't sure if I wanted to keep the classic explosive looking spikes, so I went with a more streamlined dorsal fin shape, making sure to really focus on how they flow with the rest of the design. I was even close to adding a tail fin, but I decided against it. It was a bit too much. Now, his dorsal plates have many purposes, being used to regulate heat and condense fire, but mostly to create fuel, using electrolysis to harvest hydrogen directly from the water. The caveat being that electric attacks can heavily disrupt this process. Breaking them converts the powerful concentrated beams into dissipating flames, and locks him out from his ultimate beam attack. Now their shape is influenced by the interlocking plates continuously growing into each other, like an ingrown nail, making each individual have unique dorsals. Very different, but still Godzilla, I think. The scales are very much crocodilian, using that square shape to make him look a lot more solid, but adding in a slight tilt to enhance that streamlined look, especially with the neck, tail, and torso, which also applies to his plates. And you may have noticed the plates by the neck. These are actually gills in a sense, not in the same way as Piscine wyverns, instead being more similar to Royal Ludroth. They are incredibly porous to harvest oxygen directly from the water and transport it into capillaries close to the skin. They're not as durable as the dorsal plating, but still much tougher than regular thick skin. For his limbs, I had to make them look stocky, especially the legs, which look much more muscular compared to other brute wyverns, which makes sense looking at his Monsterverse counterpart. Color-wise, I really like the idea of Godzilla being a lot more bluish instead of a full black, kind of like in his King of the Monsters poster. I was testing out a few colors here and made sure to incorporate counter shading, especially since he swims a lot. I also threw in a stripe pattern just to break up the monotony of the lateral separation. It makes him look a lot more natural, don't you think? Just a few more adjustments and even testing out an enraged mode. I didn't want to go full red, so I kept the underside blue as a nice contrast. The red color is from heat that accumulates over the course of the hunt. He's much faster and combos more moves in this state, but he's also less powerful since this limits the powerful blue flames but creates an aura similar to Teostra's Flame Cloak, making water or ice weapons effective but only in this state. And that's all there really is to him. Very whale-like overall, big build, but still looks very streamlined, and I really like just how much mass he looks like he has. Next up, the queen to our king, Mothra. Now, invertebrates like Mothra are difficult to restyle, because if you try to make it look as close to the source material as possible, it's just gonna end up looking like you ported the creature directly from that franchise. But I wanted the new design to still have moth-like abilities. Starting with the Stinger, which isn't a moth ability, I like the idea of it paralyzing others, but being able to buff Godzilla like a giant insect, with the amount determining what buff he gets, which in turn would be affected by Mothra's current status, like when she's poisoned, tired, or enraged. She can even possibly perch on Godzilla to give him an extended moveset, kind of like Celtas and Celta's Queen. For references, I pulled every bug in Monster Hunter I can. By that, I mean just Celtas, but this is gonna change later. Starting with the body, I adjusted Celtas' skeleton, since 2019 gave Mothra these humanoid-looking back legs, changing the rig up, but not by a lot. though it was still a bit basic, so I took inspiration from White Fatalis armor, adding in a mohawk on her back just to stylize some of her fur. But the most important part to get right are the wings, since they make up most of her silhouette. I didn't want to go full moth, because as mentioned earlier, it would just look like a copy-paste. So I opted for scaly butterfly wings instead of fluffy ones, which I guess makes her a lot less unique in Monster Hunter, but this does separate her from the original design by a bit. The scales are incredibly diffractive on their own, but to enhance this, each wing contains reflective crystalline particles to give them that iridescent coloration. When enraged, she cycles hemolymph in her wings, disturbing the crystals inside and increasing reflectivity, blinding enemies with a bright flash. Now the scales also mean no moth dust, so I gave them the ability to shed tiny scales she can spread in an area to increase a stun's duration. These shed scales also weaken any elemental attack in the area. Along with the crystals in her wings being reflective, they can essentially return other monsters' elemental attacks back to them. Her scales are also phosphorescent, absorbing light and emitting a faint glow, which can be enhanced by the reflective crystals, giving her access to the flash attack even from the dimmest of light sources. I Am Flesh mentioned a possible light-absorbing super move where Mothra flies up to use the sun or moon to supercharge a flash attack, which I think is pretty cool. But a constant detail I can't forget are the eyes, usually positioned near the wingtip, but I had to change it up, of course. Using the scaly wing look and taking inspiration from RJ Palmer's Godzilla, I did the opposite and made her wings resemble my Godzilla design, making it a nice blue to contrast her white and orange body. I pretty much had all the details done, so I just readjusted the skeleton to be like Narcillus and finished up detailing. She was also the fastest to render just because of how much focus I put into the wings instead of the rest of the body, going from the line art method to my more comfortable painterly rendering style, which also sped up the process. To continue my use of this painterly style and our streak of flying monsters, we have the Fire Demon, Rodan, which is the only piece I actually fully painted without having to use a line art. Now, basing it off of proportions, Rodan does not suit the Flying Wyvern skeleton, so he's our resident high-rank bird wyvern that's punching way above his weight class. There wasn't really much to change about Rodan. I really like his design as is. Monsterverse really gave him a glow up. And the magma plating already makes him look like a Monster Hunter boss, so apart from his size, I mainly adjusted 3 other things: the head, feet, and wings, elongating his beak to bring your attention to it and making him look a lot more bird-like. I also enlarged his feet to give hunters that sense of, I think this guy can grab me. Plating is taken straight from Yankutku with some adjustments, making some parts look like Monsterverse Rodan's magma scales. Now, we don't really have any true biovolcanic monsters in Monster Hunter. Apart from Zora Magdaros and Dire Miralis, which are elder dragons, no other regular monster creates lava as part of its biological processing, usually using existing lava in the area. But Monster Hunter has this common hand-wavy explanation for most monsters: extreme body heat. So I was thinking maybe Rodan excretes an extremely conductive but non-flammable oil that travels through the cracks in his scales, extracting excess body heat kind of like sweat, allowing Rodan to do more energy-intense moves. I also imagine this is released by the eyes like elephants during must, and in extreme cases to expel more heat can be used in the same way thorny toads do, giving him a sort of eye laser, which I should have drawn. Not really Rodan, but I like the idea, and it makes it unique compared to all the mouth beams we already have. I also gave him a tail flap to match his Monsterverse silhouette and to help with aerial acrobatics. Now, I didn't want the wings to be too dragon or pterosaur-like. We still had to work with the bird wyvern proportions after all. And I really like the concept art giving him feathers, so I repurposed Malfestio's rig to give Rodan a unique silhouette. Adding in the more molten-looking plates here instead of scales not only differentiates him from other flyers, it's also a lot easier to render. I added in some wing claws to mirror his Monsterverse design. Now, similar to another lava monster, he would have different forms. The dormant form, which is his base, a cooled form where he is coated with cooled magma armor, making him heavier, increasing damage and defense, but also slowing him down and grounding him. And finally, an erupted form, where the magma armor is molten, allowing for faster fire blight-inducing attacks and flight, but at the cost of damage and defense, forcing you to choose between elemental or raw damage to influence the fight. But I didn't have time to draw those, so to distract you from that, last but definitely not least, Monster Zero, or Ghidorah. Personally, I really like it when Ghidorah is a lot more alien-looking. Just look at this redesign I made of him. But with Monster Hunter, you have to reel it back in just a bit, so I focused on how dangerous I could make him look. That or basic, I don't know. The base body, if you can't immediately tell, is Rathalos, down to the lightning pattern on his wings, but his most iconic detail are his 3 heads. Monster Hunter doesn't have any traditional multi-headed monsters, with Nakarkos only resembling one because of its arms, but I sincerely do not think they would add this type of monster despite how fantastic the series is getting. More on my personal reasoning in a future video. But that said, I went with Hydreigon hand puppets instead, giving him extremely muscular thumbs and index fingers to grab prey. Just imagine yourself pinching. I kept the row of spikes on his neck, even adding a bit more, making him look a lot more like Void Ghidorah, and took a lot of reference from Raidao for his leg blading. I also spent way too much time adjusting the neck and abdominal scales because I can't get it to look right, eventually settling on an Astalos-like abdominal pattern with the classic overlapping fish scales. Now for his color, I didn't want to go with the standard full gold. Heretical statement, I know, but you need to add some pizzazz whenever it comes to a redesign. Plus, I was kind of attached to the icon I made for him being a storm cloud, so I added in the purple for some contrast, and not gonna lie, I really like this color addition. I'm using the same contrasting palette as Raidao and keeping it to the wings and legs. The underside of his wings aren't as plated as the dorsal side. This is because they can absorb or expel water vapor, effectively controlling the area's humidity. This was initially for temperature control, but it works extremely well for his thunder abilities, and I think it's especially helpful up in the sky, where clouds are always present. He can also expel jets of water, and if you know anything about Ghidorah, you would know his gravity beam acts like a physical object and not energy, kind of like Cyclops' optic blasts, but they realistically can't work like this. So using Fulgur Anjanath's method, he shoots a jet of water as a conduit for his electricity, giving it a physical punch, but also that electric effect. This water affinity would also make him weak to fire. Drying out his wings would weaken his effects on the weather, making him and Godzilla naturally cancel each other out. It also gives them a very nice one side of the same coin deal, where Godzilla uses water to create his fire attacks, and Ghidorah uses it to conduct his electricity. From this point forward, I spent a lot of time just figuring out shadow and coloration, especially with the scales, trying to get that balance of detail without overdoing the darkness. Plus I had to draw each scale by hand, which made this one of the longest renders to do, but I think it was worth it. Tell me what you guys think of these designs and which one you like best down in the comments. This was technically my first art-related video, despite my name being Sir Sketchy, which is weird. I could do some more interesting redesigns or art stuff in the future, not specific to Monster Hunter, if you guys are interested in that. Though I do have sketches of Kong and Shin Godzilla ready for their own videos, but I digress. I apologize for the bare bones editing. I didn't really have time to make anything this month. I didn't expect to make 2 videos this year, let alone 1. Special thanks to my patrons for supporting this video, especially Bug, who's been here for a long while now. Thank you, Bug, for your constant support, despite my slow production times and forgetting to post videos on Patreon. This one was already cutting close to the Kaijune deadline, so I had to rush. Thank you to all my subscribers. We finally reached 25,000. I could not have done this without any of you supporting this channel, which is nothing but my hyperfixated ramblings. I should probably do some things for this milestone, right? I don't really know how these things work. I was thinking maybe a Q&A or a new banner contest for Discord, but I don't really know. Anyways, thank you again, everyone. I sincerely cannot express my gratitude enough for this milestone, and best of luck out there. Unfortunately, no bloopers this time around. Bye!